Hit it on. There you go.
Can you guys hear me now? I'm so sorry about that. Let us try that one more time. Can everyone hear me? Can you guys hear me? I'm going to check and make sure. Okay. Welcome to Takeover Tuesday. Today we have a very special and exciting guest. There's Kyle back there. Let me get him on there. Say hi, Kyle. Today we have a very exciting guest. It is Joanne Banko. She is a brother ambassador and the owner of Let's Go Sew. And before I bring her on, I just have a couple quick announcements. Make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you guys tune in to SMP Live this Thursday at 10 a.m. PST to watch a launch of a brand new product. And they are going to be launching a brand new item. So make sure you tune in for that. And we'll have Nathan on from Grace. It's going to be super fun. But let me just stop wasting time here and let me bring on Joanne. Let's get her on here. Hi, Joanne.
Hello, Kennedy.
Sorry for that little mess up in the beginning, but you're here. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Just me, and I'm checking all the buttons and tricking on.
Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. But you're here. And let's just get Takeover Tuesday started. How are you feeling?
I'm great. Thank you. Good to see you. Hello to everybody at Sewing Machines Plus, and hello to all my sewing and embroidery friends out there.
Oh my gosh, the chat is going crazy. They're all so excited for you to be here. Just real quick before I get you going and let you go ahead and take over, where can they find you? So where can they where can they get your information, see more of you?
Okay, well, the best way to connect with me is through my website, and that is letsgosew.com. So I always like to say, if I asked you what you wanted to do today, what would you say? Let's go sew.
I love it. I love it.
So
That's
it's an
so
easy,
awesome.
very easy one to remember. And then I'm also on YouTube at Let's Go Sew with Joanne Banko, and then also on Facebook at Let's Go Sew. So,
Perfect.
so.
Awesome. No, that's so fun. Well, I'm going to let you take it away, but I just want to let the audience know real quick, we have a very exciting giveaway today.
All
so
right.
stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys are commenting and liking and sharing, and we will do that later. But for now, take it away, Joanne.
All right. And I'll count on you to, if you can, keep track a little bit of questions. And then when I come to time when I need to switch my camera over, I'll just give you a holler and you can
Perfect.
come out for a second. All right.
Awesome. All right. See you guys in a bit. Have fun.
All right. Okay, so everyone, I am going to cover the topic of having fun with frame shapes today. So I'd love to hear in the chat how many of you even know what a frame shape is, even know what I'm talking about. I am a brother ambassador, as many of you know that. So I work exclusively with the brother machines, and I'm going to, be showing on a brother machine today. But I want you to know that, what I'm going to be doing is possible on many, 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 many different machines, even with smaller hoop sizes. So stay tuned, because you're going to learn something I bet you can use on your own personal machine as well. And if you don't have frame shapes built into your machine, I'm going to be showing those that are right in the machine, ready to use. Then explore different software programs, because shapes like octagons and hearts and rectangles and circles are very, very prominent in different software programs. So you don't feel left out. I want you to know that where there's a will, there's a way, and you can find a way to recreate what I'm going to show you today. But I want to talk just a little bit about the kind of why I love frame shapes so much. First of all, I'm a sucker for anything heart shaped. It's my favorite shape. I like everything and anything that's got hearts on it or embroidery designs in the shape of a heart. And if you notice the jackets behind me, those are from my new collection called Just Jackets. And it's an embroidery software collection. I partnered with Designs in Machine Embroidery to create designs that would fit mainly on with the thought of embellishing jean jackets. So you see the yokes, the back area, even in between the buttonholes. In this collection, there are 50 embroidery designs. It includes applique designs and embroidery designs and charm designs, which are the smaller designs that you can use on collars and cuffs and in between buttonholes. But one of my favorite designs in this collection is actually this heart that is designed for a jacket back. But I started thinking, what if I wanted to make a heart with roses? Could I do that? So the answer is yes, because not only does this collection include the groupings that are already made for the yokes and for the jacket backs, front yoke, back yoke, all those areas that they're very perfectly tuned to that. The pieces and parts for all of these different groupings are also included as separate pieces. So I'd love to hear in the chat. I don't know about you, but I love being able to create my own original designs with pieces and parts that coordinate and mix and match together. So many of our embroidery designs are a one-off. You stitch the one thing, and unless you have software to be able to break it apart, or unless you're savvy with that, you're kind of stuck with whatever grouping they give you. But I wanted to have in this collection the opportunity for you to either create the designs as is or break them apart and create your very own original. So check with Sewing Machines Plus for availability of this. I'm sure they can, if they don't have it in stock already now, they can get it. They know who to contact. So let me show you what I came up with as far as creating a rose heart shape. I went ahead and designed this pillow. So what I did is I took a frame shape from the machine, and you're going to see me play with a lot of frame shapes on the machine, and just took, again, pieces and parts and said, how could I make them fit the shape of the heart? They really were pretty easy to just move around and rotate a little bit, but there's all kinds of options and all kinds of opportunities for you to do different things. But aren't those just absolutely gorgeous? I love all the designs in this collection. It includes folk art designs, and then it also includes a sparkling stars collection, and then it includes roses as well. And I love all of them, but I can't get enough of the roses. I just keep doing them over and over and over again. So I will show you exactly how I did that pillow, but I want to just give you a little glance again at some of the designs. Again, the pieces and parts are in there, and there are many small pieces and charm style designs that you can use for all kinds of other different things. Again, embroidery, and also you will find, I think that's upside down, you will find applique designs as well. So maybe we can cover applique in another day, but today we're going to focus on frame shapes. So what do I love to do with frame shapes? Well, I would, if you read the little description on this, everything from greeting cards to quilt labels to jacket backs and pillows and more. There are just so many opportunities with frame shapes. So let me show you one that I just finished, actually, that is done again with these little frame designs. And this is going to be very easy to turn into a greeting card. So how many of you out there? I see Denise says she likes designing her own. Collections are very tempting. Belinda says it's very pretty. Thank you, Belinda. June says it's so beautiful. Thank you. And hi, Joy. Boy, I wish I had time to say hi to everybody in here. Star Raymond says she enjoys making greeting cards for family and friends. I love making greeting cards. So I'm not going to go through the whole process today. Let me tell you again that not only can you contact me at my website, but if you sign up for my email list, you will then get what I call a love note from me every weekend, where I will share extras and bonuses and sewing tips and techniques and let you know what's going on. So as a follow-up to the Tuesday takeover, I will have a whole bunch of different resources for you in a link to my email. So if you're interested, make sure you sign up to get notifications from me. But this is a tried and true way that I do greeting cards over and over again. And very simply, what I do is I purchase stiff felt. So it's kind of like a craft felt. It doesn't have a backing on it. Make sure you don't get the one that has the sticky backing on it. You want plain stiffened felt. And I cut it just about a 5x7 size. I think I figured I can get 5 out of one chunk of standard 11 or I think it's 18 inches by something, but I can get quite a few pieces out of there. And once I cut that, then I can secure it to my hoop. Now, what I did in this particular case is I hooped a piece of the sticky adhesive that we love to use for, those things, the unhoopables, the things that we can't really hoop very easily. And this doesn't hoop very well. So you either have to tape it to a cutaway or use the sticky like this. And what I did is I simply selected a heart shape from the machine. You can kind of see the little mimic of the heart, and took those designs that I just showed you and simply, like I said, rotated them around until I created similar to the heart shape and a heart outline. And then I added lettering to it. And then I added just a rectangular frame around the outside. So when I went to stitch it, I skipped the very first heart frame that I created, because that was just basically as a background to give me a way to form that shape. So I'll be showing you that in just a minute. Here, this one's a little bit more detailed. You can do this on regular fabric as well. This would make a great way to make a wedding gift or a ring bearer's pillow. There's just a whole lot of different ways that you can do this. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck on hearts. Anybody else with me here being stuck on hearts? I'll have to check the chat later and see if there's any fellow heart enthusiasts here. All right, so are we ready to get started? What I want to do today is show you how to use the frame shapes, show you how I created that heart, and show you how to create your own custom coaster using nothing but those built-in frame shapes. So Kennedy, if you want to pop back on for a minute here, I'll get my camera switched over.
Yes, I can hop back on.
All right,
I'll let you get
cool.
your camera moved over.
I see some fellow heart lovers on here. Hearts work
Yes.
for any occasion.
No, I'm looking and everyone is so excited.
Yeah,
they're all so
hearts.
excited to see you. I love hearts too. I know that one of the first designs I think I did was a heart on I think it was a Brother machine. I think it might have been the Luminaire.
Yeah.
I know I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled by using the Luminaire for the first time, but
and I think what Mary Orr said, I was trying to find her. Mary, hearts and roses are timeless. That is so true.
I
So
agree.
true.
I agree. I love it.
All right. I'm going to switch over. You want to do something fun while I'm gone.
Yes, let's do that. Should we maybe do a quick little giveaway just while we're waiting for her to switch our camera?
Sounds good to me.
Let's go ahead and pop it up. So we will be going ahead and giving away one of our sewing mats. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we will go ahead and do a quick little giveaway. Now, you guys know our mats. They are tried and true. I've got one on my desk right now. We can use it for several options. Let me go ahead and share this and let's do our drawing. Can you guys see Kyle and all them back there? Okay, let me get there. Okay, ready? Let's see. It's getting close. It's getting close. Bobby Carter. Okay, if you are watching now, go ahead and send a quick email out to, or not an email, I'm sorry, go to smplive.tv and fill out the form and we will go ahead and get you that prize all set up for you, okay? So go on there and fill out your information and we will go ahead and get you that mat. You can also pick out any color. We have I think about maybe 14 or 15 designs now and different sizes as well. So if you've got a bigger machine, smaller machine, we've got several mats that will fit for you. And we have 2 new colors, a teal and a cherry blossom. And the cherry blossom is my favorite. I love it. So Bobby, congrats. The website is down below to claim your prize. And let's see, Joanne, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to get her back on and enjoy Joanne and Kyle.
All right. Hey, Kyle. Okay, so doesn't that look pretty? This is, can you tell I was a former Sunday school teacher? I always like to use a flannel board because so many things stick so nice to it. So I want to show you a few samples first of all. Okay, before I get too far into it, I want to show you the one we're actually going to be creating today is this one right here. The octagon shape is one of my favorite shapes. It's just so classic and really, really, really works well for a coaster because you get kind of an artful look. You know, it's not just a plain circle or not just a plain rectangle. It has a little bit of, you know, artistic flair to it, but it's still a good size. So you get a lot of good coverage on your cup. So everything I have here today, except for one, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I have one different one. But pretty much are the octagons, but feel free to use any shape once you learn this technique. So this one is just done on plain old cotton duck cloth. So that gives it a little bit of extra thickness. And it's also a very, very durable fabric. And then I just used a cotton print for the center there. On the back, I used just plain regular cotton fabric, which is what I'm going to be using today. And you'll see that it's all cleanly finished. Now, this idea has been around for a while. You may have stitched some coasters like this. And a lot of times people will overlap the back and that works fine. And I'll show you when I show you how to actually make your own custom size for this, how you can alter it to do that. But a lot of times I like to just do so the fold meets in the middle. And one of the reasons I do that is because it makes it very easy for me to slip another piece of something inside there. So let's see if you can guess. Yep, Denise says, is it cork inside? It absolutely is. So cork you can buy in sheets. It's very easy to cut, and it makes a really good, absorbent coaster. So if you want to keep it a little bit more protective. So very easy to cut the shape and just slip it right in there. If I had an overlap, that makes it a little bit more difficult to feed that in because you don't have any flexibility with cork. So consider that. Another item that you can put in the middle there if you want is something, again, readily available. It's another one of my favorite fillers, and that is ordinary shelf liner. I have no idea what this stuff is really made out of, but we know that if we put a wet glass on top of there is nothing that's going to seep through. So again, this is very easy to cut, and I will often use this when I want a filler as well. Now, in reality, if I'm using this for hot cups, I don't really worry about anything seeping through. So I have done other different coasters. Here are my fancy schmancy ones, and these are actually created with Silk du Peony, and I don't have anything other than the batting, which you're going to see me use as my standard filler there. And again, I just use that same technique of meeting in the middle. Now, you can also create these very simply out of felt. I mean, if you want to make some quickies and some inexpensive gifts, yep, you're seeing some different seasons here. I'm going to tell you right off, I am not in the mood for snowflakes today, but these were so pretty, I had to share them with you. I'm in Northeast Ohio, and we are having a gorgeous day here today. So I'm not quite in the mood to stitch snowflakes, but they sure are pretty. And this just gives you an idea that you can use other embroidery designs for your center area. So anything that will fit your coaster, you can stitch and then add the whole shape idea that I'm going to show you in order to create the whole coaster. But these work out really nice. You probably can't see very well on camera. Let me wiggle it just a little bit. But if you could see that sparkle a little bit, I did one more thing on this. I took some tulle that had the little bit of the sparkly glitter effect, and I layered it over my felt when I stitched this. So it just kind of brings a little bit of extra life to that ordinary felt that would normally have just kind of a dull look. So it's a little bit on the subtle side, but if you could see this in person, you'd say, yeah, that makes it look just a little fancy and a little bit special. Now, the other thing I did that I want you to consider as an option, because I did the technique of meeting in the middle, and by the way, with felt, I don't need to use a folded edge because felt doesn't ravel. So you'll see me do it with cotton today, and that would need to be doubled like I did for this coaster and for this coaster. But for felt, you can simply do it, just with the raw edge like that. And I just took a hand needle and thread and whip stitched that closed. You could also fuse it closed. I know that works. There's always a time and a place for glue and fusibles. So do whatever works for you. But that makes a nice clean finish to it. Another option, if you wanted to substitute for the batting that would normally go inside, you could use the insulative batting. And there's nothing saying you couldn't make these larger and turn them into trivets. A lot of it is really just going to depend on your machine and your hoop size. So let's talk about hoop sizes. All of the coasters that I showed you so far were done in a 4x4 hoop. So again, I don't want anybody to feel left out. If you have one of the basic embroidery models, if you have a brother machine, you've got the frame shapes built in, and you just want to use whatever the maximum size is you can get in that 4-inch hoop. But there are other options available. I'm going to be using a 5x7 hoop today. And I'll show you, I've already got my fabric layered in the hoop. And what I've done is I've backed it with a fusible batting. So again, lots of options. You could use just a standard craft batting layered in there. You could use the insulative batting if you wanted to. I happen to have lots and lots of fusible fleece, which is a craft fleece. And I just went ahead and fused it to the back. That just gives that a little bit more of a smooth look. And I don't need any other additional stabilizer with this. So just my fabric fused to the batting, and you can see what the batting looks like in the back. So I'm going to be using the 5x7 hoop today. And, you know, I'm just like you. I'm frugal and I don't like to waste things. But when it comes to fabric, we always have piles of it that end up, you know, kind of the cutaways. So I'm going to go ahead and have some that's going to be extra here that's going to be cut away, but I will give you a tip if you want to economize a little bit too when we get right to the stitching. Another one of my favorite hoops for creating coasters is this 6-inch square hoop. And that really allows you to make even an oversized coaster. Maybe you want to turn it into a mug rug. You know, you get the idea here. You can come up with a whole lot of options on your own. And I actually use a bigger hoop when I do this technique, which this is another whole idea here. And again, if you sign up for my email and get my notifications, I will list my resources for how I create this one. We're going to be doing a fabric one today, but this one is done on marine vinyl. And again, you see me mimicking that octagon shape. This one's finished thoroughly on the back as it is on the front. And I'm going to give you another little tip today. Can you see those little holes? Oh, can you guess what happened? Somehow my vinyl got under the needle when it wasn't supposed to. And I went ahead and stitched through that, and those stitches were not supposed to be there. So again, I said I was frugal. I picked out those stitches and I just went ahead and created a coaster of my own and used that on the back, and who knows. But for a gift, I would be more careful. And my step-by-step instructions for this will show you how to do it accurately, so that won't happen to you. But we all know the best embroiderers still make mistakes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move this, and I want to start showing you some different things on the machine. So let's start by exploring the frame shapes. They are in embroidery mode, and they are right here in this menu. So again, you're going to see these everywhere on any Brother machine. You're going to have that menu of frame shapes. The difference is going to be the sizes that you're able to create, and possibly some of the stitches. There are some machines that maybe have a few extra designing stitches, but let's go ahead and explore this. So you can see right off the bat, I've got 10 shapes and I've got 14 different stitch types. So for each one of these shapes, I could select a shape and I could select a stitch pattern, and I can create any one of those with any combination of stitch types and shapes. When I get to the edit screen, I can also resize that. So let's go ahead and select the heart. And I want to show you what the method I used for that pillow or for the greeting cards. I'm going to work with just a plain heart today, but when I did the pillow, I actually used this feather stitch. So again, you can choose to just use that heart as a backdrop, or you can use it as part of your design. So we're going to just use that as a backdrop. I could use the triple stitch, or I can just use the regular plain single stitch. We're going to go ahead and touch set. I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to resize this. Just make that bigger, and know that you can resize either proportionately or any other way you want. So if I want to give that a little bit more of a streamlined heart shape, I can do that, and then I can go ahead and resize some more if I want. Now, I don't know if that's going to work with what I'm going to put on there, but I can always go back and I can edit that and change that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to add. I'm going to go to my memory pocket, and I've got all of the designs from the Just Jackets collection preloaded on a USB stick. And I'm going to scroll down till I find the one I used at the bottom, and it's that one right there. I'm going to go ahead and touch set. I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to move that. Now, I like to be real precise with my movement, so I usually move with the arrow keys. And I'm just going to try to get an idea. How does that look? Well, I can see that it needs to be rotated. So if you've ever worked with designs on your screen and tried to rotate them, you may find that at times they are a little too close to the edge to rotate. So sometimes I'll just go ahead and send it back to the center so I can go to edit, go to rotate, and just give a little try. I think 10 degrees is going to be just about perfect, and then move that into position. And remember, we've got lots of options for playing with this. Oh, that is just about perfect. I'm going to get that moved closer to the point. And now I want another one just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and use my copy paste feature. Now, if you don't have this feature, just go ahead and reselect another design and add one to it. I'm going to copy and paste it. It always sets it off just slightly so that you can still see that you have a second copy. I'm going to go ahead and mirror image that, and then I'm going to move it over. Now, one of the things that happens when you copy it, if you take a close look at that, because it copied it and basically duplicated it, so it's offset, it is no longer lining up with my previous one. Now I can jiggle around with my arrows until I get that visually so that it looks the same. But here's another trick for you. If we just go ahead and we select the first rows, I can go ahead and go up to my move key and see what my exact coordinates are. So I'm going to write these down real quick because I'll probably forget it as soon as I move it. 1.87 by 2.03. All right, now I can go ahead and select that second rows, go up to the move key, and set that to the exact same coordinates. So hopefully this is a new trick that you have not learned before. It's one of my favorite ways to get precision placement. So I'm okay with the 187. Now I'm going to go ahead and go over to the 2.3. Am I going the wrong way? No, I'm going the wrong way. All right. Once I get that there, now those are absolutely perfectly aligned. So now I can go ahead and touch add, go back to my memory pocket, and we'll just add another couple pieces here. So I think you can get the idea before we move on to creating our coaster. So I know now that the next part of the design that I want is actually in the parts folder. So the parts is, like I said, where you find all the pieces and parts that make up those groupings. I'm going to just scroll down a little bit here. Let's see till I find, I think, let's see which one I want here. I'm going to go ahead and select this one here, and I'm going to touch set. Again, I'm going to touch edit and move that up. And this one, I know that when I did that one on my pillow, I actually rotated that 180 degrees. Move that up, move that over. And then once again, that's a pretty good match. Maybe I'll do just a little bit more of an angle there. And again, you can see how useful the duplicate key is, because when I want to put this now into position, I can just go ahead and when I get the second one in position, I can just go ahead and duplicate. And now this time I'm going to mirror image it, move it over, go back. I'll show you that process again. Double check my coordinates. For this one, I need 343 by 183. And I can go ahead and select that and do the same thing I did before. So right up there to 3, 4, 3, and then over until I get 183. Let's go ahead and do a preview on that. And you can see all I would need to do is add a couple more little curvy roses in there, a rosebud with a little stem on it. And I've got a beautiful, beautiful heart shape. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and I could go back to add, and I could select that same heart shape again and use that feather stitch if I wanted to, just resize it for that particular size that I created before. But I'm going to delete that one, and I'm going to go ahead and just proceed to embroidery so that you could see how it stitches out. You always want to start out with your background shape first, and this could be an oval, it could be a rectangle, it could be an octagon, it could be anything you want it to be. And you start with that shape, you build your design pieces over that shape, and when you go to stitch it, you just simply skip that first shape if it's not one if it's not the decorative one you want to stitch, and it will stitch out just the designs, and you'll have something really, really special and very, very pretty. So let me pop back over to the screen here and see if there are any questions so far before I show you how to actually create the coaster. Kennedy, are you there?
Yes, I am here. One thing they were asking about and honestly taking note of was how nice the screen is on that machine. I mean, you can see everything, and even down to all the editing that you're doing. It's so important to have a good screen like that to see what you're doing.
You are absolutely right. Now, because I'm a Brother ambassador, I have access to the Brother Luminaire, and that's what I am using today. But again, I know you've got lots of models that have very, very, very similar features. And there's something out there for everybody and everybody's budget and for everybody's desires.
And sure. I'll give you a hint. One of those machines might be given away today. Maybe.
Wow.
Possibly.
Really?
We'll see. I don't know. You'll just have to watch and find out. Everybody in the comments. Make sure you guys are commenting a lot, because you don't know. We don't know what I've got up my sleeve today. We don't.
Oh my. You're getting sneaky like Blaine. You're learning all his tricks.
I get it from the best. I get it from the best. What can I say?
Absolutely. Oh my.
Okay. Wow. Are you getting your camera switched back?
I can do that. Yep. I can switch back.
Perfect.
I just wanted to check in, see if there was any questions or if there was anything you wanted to take care of before we
let's see. Anybody have any questions? Anything for Joanne while we're here?
Okay. Hope they've enjoyed
People are
it.
saying I love my dream machine. I love Brother machines. They're awesome. Everybody's saying Blaine taught you well. He did. He did.
All right, I'll go ahead and switch over, and you can.
Okay, perfect. Are you guys having fun? I'm sitting here watching Joanne, just impressed. Everything she's saying, I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do that. All the ideas are they're just coming so fast. I want to know. I want to do all these designs. All right, we've got her back. I'm going to let her go back to you guys. And like I said, stay tuned for a giveaway.
All right, so let me move some of these pieces and parts out of the way and get back to the home screen. Let me have a little sip of tea. It's not only is it beautiful weather, it's allergy season. So pardon me for a second here. All righty, so I'm going to show you how to create this coaster today, step by step. And you can always watch the replay to get the rest of the the entire step by step, but it's very, very, very easy. So again, I'm going to start in embroidery mode, and I have already hooped my fabric. You heard me talk about that before. I'm going to use ordinary cotton fabric. You can get fancy with this, though. I'm telling you, these, the sky's the limit on choosing fabric. You could use denim, anything from denim to silk du peony and all kinds of different things in between. And now I'm going to go ahead and go back to frame shapes. I'm going to go and select the octagon this time. And I'm going to use just a regular straight stitch. So just, you're going to see this is just going to serve as my placement stitch. And I'm going to use that at the standard size. So I'm going to go ahead and touch set. You can see that the size that the machine has already created for me is 2.57 by 2.57. Good to go. All right, I'm going to go now and I'm going to add another octagon shape. This time I want the satin stitching because we're going to create an applique. And although I'm showing you how to do a coaster, you could use any one of these frame shapes using the same process that I'm showing here as an applique on any fabric. So you can do this directly on a pillow, pillow cover, directly on your garments. Any one of these shapes can be used in the form of an applique as well. I'm going to show you all the steps for that. So again, I'm going to use the default size on this. I'm not going to change the size. And that's important because it is going to give good coverage to the straight stitch. If I resize this shape, I just want to make sure that the satin stitch is going to cover the straight stitch. So it may require you doing a test if you resize. For example, if I wanted to make this into, closer to a 4-inch octagon, I've got to, use my judgment to make sure that the satin stitch one that I choose to go over it is going to be exactly the same. Usually when you select it and resize it, you can see if it's covering that. If you want to change your thread colors, you could do that as well. So let me just, I'll show you that in a minute, so that if you want to do it that way, you can do it that way as well. All right, now I've built my applique, essentially is what I've done here. I want to go now and I want to add my decorative octagon. So I just added a couple more frame shapes around this octagon, and you could do as many as you wanted to, as many as would fit in your particular shape. I'm just going to do one outline today so we save a little bit of time. So again, I'm going to select that same octagon shape, and one of my favorite decorative stitches to use is 007. This one has kind of a zigzaggy effect, and then it makes these little tiny dots. And of course, you got to cut the jump threads between there if you don't have a jump thread cutting on your machine. But it's well worth it because it just creates such a beautiful look. And I thought that kind of went with the whole kind of sparkling stars theme. So I'm going to go ahead and touch set. And this one, I want to resize it because I want it to go either outside that octagon or just simply overlap it a little bit. So I'm going to increase my vision here a little bit with that magnifying glass. I'm going to edit, and now I'm going to resize that decorative one. Now, this is all up to personal preference. If I wanted to, you could see I could make, that shape all the way outside of that. I chose to do two. I chose to do one right around there, and then I have another one that is overlapping my satin stitching a little bit. So again, that's just personal preference. It's not something maybe we think of doing a lot, but sometimes stacking open style decorative stitches over a satin stitch just creates kind of a extra special little touch, because you're looking at it and going, how is that done? And we always like to, especially when we're giving gifts, we like to give something to somebody that they're going to examine a little bit and go, how did she do that? So that's just a simple little overlap. I'm going to go ahead and touch OK. And now I need to add another octagon. So I'm going to go back to my octagon. And this time I want to choose 010, and that's going to be another placement outline. I'm going to touch set, and I'm going to touch edit, and I'm going to resize this one until I like a coaster that's close to 5 inches. So for today, I'm going to do this one at about 4 3/4, right there, 4.77. Okay. I'm going to go back. I'm going to add one more octagon to finish this up. And this time I'm going to choose the octagon with the triple stitch. And I'm going to do that because that's going to be my finishing octagon that's actually going to sew the seam around those outer edges. So I'm going to touch set, I'm going to touch edit, and I'm going to do that one almost the same size as my 4 3/4, but I'm going to go just a little bit bigger so that I make sure that I cover that. So I'm going up to 4.81. All right, we are ready to stitch this, but before we do, I just want to go ahead and show you colors here. If we wanted to change the colors, for example, to be able to see if our coverage was going to be good on our satin stitch, I could select this satin stitch and turn it into a very light color. And then when I do my preview, go ahead and touch preview, and I increase that, I would be able to see if my black thread was peeking out. I don't see it. I've got good coverage there, so I am good to go, ready to go to embroidery. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just slide my camera over just a little bit here so that you can see at the machine. All right, I'm going to get this on the machine. Let me get that moved over just a little bit more for you. Right there, okay? And the first thing I'm going to do is stitch the placement stitch. So I've got white thread in here. Let me switch that really quick to something a little darker so that you can see that placement stitch. Of course, colors are always your choice, whatever you want. Remember, your machine is unable to see colors, so that means you can use whatever you want, wherever you want. Thread it up, and we're going to stitch this out in just a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead, and again, that first stitch is simply a placement stitch because I want to know about how big my applique piece needs to be. Now while that's stitching, let me talk about my applique piece. I like to have a fusible applique, so I went ahead and used an iron-on fusible webbing on the back of this fabric so that when I'm all done, I can literally take my iron and give that a good press, and I know my applique is not only stitched, it's also fused in place. So if you can't tell already, I'm a big fan of fusible. Now, again, what this did is it stitched out a placement line so we can see exactly how much fabric we need to cover that to create our applique shape. Now, I went ahead and cut mine oversized. And if you're working with a print, I recommend that you do that because you may want to be able to fussy cut this. So I'm just going to fold that right about where there's an anchor in the middle and kind of make sure that's going to end up there. And now I know that I'm going to get, at least 1 or 2 anchors in there to give that a good look. But I certainly don't need this big of a piece of fabric. And that is the reason we do that placement stitch. So you can be, again, very frugal and make sure that your fabric is just overlapping a little bit and you are good to go. All right, now I'm going to go backwards and I'm going to re-stitch that straight stitch. So I just backed up one color and I'll get that one stitched out. Those of you that have done applique, you already know this process. Fusible backing, Cindy, whatever you prefer, anything will work. Just make sure that you can stitch through it. So there's lots and lots of different options on the Sewing Machines Plus website. Just look for a fusible webbing product that is able to be stitched through. All right, now I need to get rid of all this excess. So I'm going to go ahead and get my trusty curved tip scissors. And I'm going to need to cut pretty close to this, which is going to be a little hard because I'm a little distance away from it. Hopefully I'll do pretty good. I like to use a technique of, I'll give you a couple tips on cutting your applique pieces. I like to hold my applique layer up just a little bit. And again, I love curved tip scissors. If you have a different type of scissor you like to use, go for it. But these work the best in my opinion. If I have an area that's hard to get into, if I were doing, say, for example, the heart shape, it's going to be a little bit hard to get into that point. Here's another tip for you. Go ahead and clip up to your stitching so that then you have little kind of like pieces of the pie that you can cut into more easily, and you're not having to cut that one big piece. So just by clipping into that, that makes it a little bit easier to get into those pieces and parts that are more intricately shaped. This one's pretty easy, although I can see I could have done a little better job on that. Hopefully you'll forgive me today for not being perfect. And it's a little hard to be perfect on camera because you're not right in front of the machine. All right, so I've got that one all done. Now it's time to do my satin stitching. So I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. That's next in the step. And of course, my needle came unthreaded, so let's fix that. Thank goodness for automatic needle threaders. It makes rethreading that needle easy, but I think I missed it there. Let me scooch over there. Second time the charm. Yep, good to go. All right, I don't need to worry about that tail. I can just go ahead and stitch. Hopefully you're getting the picture here so far. Very, very, very easy. Very easy to recreate this and start thinking about using other shapes. Again, you know, coasters just make one of the best gifts you can think of because everybody will use them. You can personalize it with a monogram like the one you saw me do before, and you know, just you know, give somebody something special. And Eileen's asking, what's on the back of the fabric? Fusible webbing. So like I said, any kind of fusible webbing will work. There's lots of different brands out there. Just pick one that you can stitch through. There are some fusible webbings that will say no sew on it. If it says no sew, it really should say don't sew or you'll be in trouble, because those were not designed to be penetrated with a needle. So just look for sewable, fusible webbing. That's all you need to look for. And believe it or not, we are really close to finishing this. Satin stitching usually takes the most length of time because you've got a lot of coverage that's going on there. But hopefully you're getting some ideas for even some fabrics that you'd like to use. Arlene, I'm just using a standard size 11 embroidery needle. I would say about 80-90% of the embroidery that I do is done just with a standard size 11 embroidery needle. Sometimes I'll change that up a little bit, but most of the time it is not necessary. Okay, then the next step would be my decorative stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and do that decorative stitching. And Kennedy, if you want to pop back on while that's going, feel free. Do you have anything you want to take care of or do while that's stitching?
Yes, I'm looking for questions. If anybody's got any more. Ella Bly asked, when would you use a 90/14? Oh, can you hear me, Joanne?
I didn't catch that.
Ella Bly asked, when would you use a 90/14 needle?
Maybe if I'm embroidering canvas or something like that, but I'm telling you, it's pretty rare. You know, most of those really heavy fabrics we're not really doing embroidery on. So that's why the size 11 is just perfect.
Oh, I agree. All of us at the store always use 80/12. I know Lynn loves using 80/12 needles for her embroidery.
Yep. 12 and
It's
11
just a
and an
classic.
11 are almost neck and neck. Absolutely.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, let me get off here so they can see a little bit more of that stitch
Okay,
out, and
very
then we'll
good.
come back and do a giveaway. I know you
Okay,
guys are excited.
very good. We're getting close to finishing up here. So
Yes, awesome.
okay, so you can see it's doing all those little dots, and either I don't have my jump thread thing set up or sometimes when you have a really short thread, it will not cut your jump thread. So be aware of that. It's not that your machine is making a mistake, but if it doesn't have far to go from point A to point B, it may actually not cut those jump threads because it would be too much knotting on the back. So learn to trust your machine. Those are really easy to clip those jump threads. And yes, I love the dots as well. Arnell loves the dots. It's just really fun. Normally I would do this with contrasting thread, and you saw me do the, the red, white, and blue theme. That works out really, really well. And just, mix and match for the look you like, and use what coordinates with your fabric. Thread color is a great way to tie together a theme. So, all right. So if you remembered the process, the next thing that I programmed in was an outline so that I could see my finished shape. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that one out. You could technically skip this one once you get going on these and you get a feel for it. But this is going to show me how big I need to cut my lining pieces for the back. So my two back pieces. And I wanted to formulate it this way so that you could see that using this method, you could create coasters of whatever size you want, because this programming this step is now going to show me what size my lining pieces should be cut. And I'm going to show you my very kind of hokey pokey way that I do this. I take a piece of plain old computer paper. I fold it in half because I know if I'm going to do a piece that needs to be, have a fold in the middle or a fold for an overlap. And I find the approximate center, and I make sure that I have about a 1/2 inch above that stitching line and about a 1/2 inch below that stitching line. So we can just scratch that in. You just want a little bit of a margin so that you have an amount to overlap, and that will actually be your seam allowance. And then I would just flip this paper over and see, oh, that's where my edge is here. Just do a little crease in the paper, and I need about a 1/2 inch outside of that. I can literally scribble that in. I can redraw it with a ruler later and make that nice and even. But if I went ahead and cut this, go ahead and cut it real quick. And I've got pieces already cut for finishing this coaster, but if I go ahead and I cut this, then I can see that's going to overlap that perfectly from the center, about a 1/2 here, about a 1/2 here, and about a 1/2 here. I can then open this piece up, and I can use this to cut my two lining pieces. All right, so let me grab my lining pieces that are already cut. You can see I just cut these with a little pinking blade. I'm going to fold wrong sides together, and I could press this if I wanted to, but I'm just going to finger crease this. And Ella uses felt for the back of her coasters. That's absolutely fine. Ella, thank you for mentioning that, because I just want to say why I generally use same fabric instead of a contrast or another. When we turn this right side out, if you have at least the same color on the back as you do on the front, the edges won't be as noticeable where that is, pressed to the back side. If I had a contrast on this and I had a little bit, let's say I used navy blue, and that scooted out a little bit on the edge, it would be very noticeable to see that color around the edge. So generally speaking, I like to use the same fabric, which is the same fabric that I used previously. Now, you're going to see, obviously, I didn't, this isn't being hooped. This is just being layered. So for this particular process, I lost my little, here it is. I'm going to want to tape this in place. Now, we all have our favorite tape. Most tapes can be stitched through as long as you remove that tape immediately. And again, I could be a little bit more precise with the center here if I wanted to. I'm going to be a little bit quick today, but these would be my center guidelines right at the top and at the bottom. And I just want to have those two together. If I cut these a little bit bigger, so you would take that into account when you make your paper pattern, then I could do an overlap here. And then that would not require me to have any opening, and I could, not have to even be concerned with closing that. But again, you saw me use some extra stuff to prevent that from any type of moisture going through. And when you do that, you want to make sure that you leave that opening so that it's just meeting like that. Now for today, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my ordinary plain old on the other side of the table Scotch tape. And I want to make sure this is completely closed here. And I want to make sure that this is completely flat up at the top edge. Now, again, I could stitch through this, but I'm going to try to position it so that it's at the outer edge and doesn't get stitched through. Put that back on. I would switch now to white thread if I wanted this to be a real project, but I'm going to use the dark so that you can see it. And if you remember, the very last octagon that I programmed in was a triple stitch, and that's what you want to use rather than just the single stitch for finishing all of your that's what you don't want to happen. Okay, so this was a do as I say, not as I've done there, because I should have been watching this, and that was a bad, nasty mistake. So one that I unfortunately am not going to be able to correct. So Kennedy, I think you're going to have to come back and make a good ending out of this.
But I mean, hey, it shows that life happens. It's all good. It's all good.
It happens. It happens.
Every problem has a solution,
and again,
right?
it is my mistake, because I should have made sure I was watching that. And in fact, here's my best tip for that. Tape it where it's going to be stitched over, and then don't ever use your fingers. Use this chopstick, or some people like to use an emery board, and hold that down while it's going over that area so you won't run into what I ran.
I actually have learned the hard way with sewing machine needles. I'll leave it at that, but I learned my lesson there.
Yeah. So as a bonus, I'll post a little video of start to finish on my website with the stitching actually working properly, so I could show you how to finish that. You just clip your corners, trim your seam allowance, turn it right side out, and you've got one of these.
An amazing little coaster. Joanne, you're amazing. I'm just going to keep you on here real quick so I can announce the giveaway.
All right.
We are going to be giving away a SE 1900 from Brother. Let me take myself off here so you're still on here. Whoop. Let's switch this real quick.
Wow.
So, an SE 1900. And I am super excited to give this one away because you can use that machine for some of the things that you were working on today, right? With the 5x7 hoop.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You've got the color screen.
Yes, exactly. And everybody loved that. So if you liked what Joanne did today, you have a chance to win and do the same exact thing today. So let me go ahead and share my screen and let's do a giveaway. All right, are you ready?
I'm wishing good thoughts for everybody here.
Yes, good luck, good luck.
I'm holding my breath.
The suspense, the suspense.
Oh my. Sharon Crowder, congratulations.
You have won a brand new SE 1900. So go ahead and down below, hit the smplab.tv, head onto that website and fill out the form, and we will get you that machine. Congrats. I'm so excited for you. It's
wonderful.
So much fun.
Oh, what an amazing ending. Oh my.
Yes, right. Oh, it's my favorite. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, Joanne. You have your schedule. You're a busy, busy woman. I'll let you get
I
back
gotta
to
fix
it.
my coaster.
Right. Gotta fix it before you give it away. But I will let you go. Thank you so much for coming on Takeover Tuesday. I know we all had so much fun. I was sitting here watching you, learning something new today. So thank you
Thank
again,
you.
and
Thanks for
hopefully we'll have
having
you back
me.
on soon.
I'll
Yes,
come back.
anytime.
All right.
Anytime. All righty.
Happy
Have a good
sewing.
day,
Bye-bye.
Joanne. Bye. All right, guys. So that was episode 2 of Takeover Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more Takeover Tuesday, more SMP live shows, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will never miss another SMP live show. And while you're at it, go ahead and like our page on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, and we'll post updates. We've got fun things going on there, and we do some giveaways sometimes on there too. So if you wanted to, maybe enter to win something else, you're more than welcome to come on over and hang out with SMP Nation. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Make sure you tune in this Thursday at 10 a.m. PST for SMP Live. There's a brand new product launching with Grace. Very excited. All new, all new. All righty. You guys have an amazing rest of your Tuesday, and we will see you on Thursday. Have a good and amazing rest of your day, guys.